to inform you guys about the Second Amendment. Not many people know exactly the ways to exercise the Second Amendment, or what is even the Second Amendment. So today, first I'm going to explain to you guys what the Second Amendment is and the restrictions to the Second Amendment. Secondly, I'm going to explain the ways Americans typically exercise their right of the Second Amendment. And lastly, I'm going to share with you guys the opposition of the Second Amendment and those views of it. So hearing the preview that I've just straightened out, we're going to get straight to the first point, which is what is the Second Amendment and the restrictions of the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. And typically that is carrying loaded weapons, firearms, etc. Now the restrictions of the Second Amendment is you have to obtain a permit or a license. You have to be of ages 18 or 21 years or older to obtain certain firearms. And lastly, you have to make sure that you are abiding by government rules of the use of those firearms. Now that I explained to you the purpose and the restrictions of the Second Amendment, I am now going to inform you guys of how many Americans use to exercise that right. We can first start off with the federal government. Federal government, I mean by police, FBI, and even the military. Those people use that to protect and serve our country, and most importantly, they have abided by those government rules. So it is a career choice when it comes to following the Second Amendment. Next is outdoor activities such as hunting or trap shooting. Trap shooting is when they throw a disc in the air and it is shot by a firearm. A lot of people do enjoy using these as an outdoor activity for hunting deer, rabbit, antelope, etc. So now that we understand exactly the purpose and the restrictions of the Second Amendment and how people choose to exercise it, I'm now going to lead you into the opposition of the Second Amendment. It is very popular for people to oppose the Second Amendment and the regards to it. First of all, the Second Amendment can also be used for violence. In particular, I want to go into an article I looked up on the news by CNN where two teenagers did a shootout involved with a gang. So, the Second Amendment can be used for gang violence, drive-bys, territorial, rivalry stuff. Secondly, I want to explain to you guys the second part of the opposition, where people can be used it to get vengeance or the way they feel. This is a commonly known reaction, where recently you'd be informed by the news that there's school shootings because a kid was being picked on, being bullied, or simply because of the way they felt. There's a study involved to the feeling of those who exercise their right of Second Amendment because of simply they're feeling depressed, they're feeling upset. In particular, and a very sensitive subject I'll talk about is suicide. Majority of Americans commit suicide with the Second Amendment because they can't handle the pressure or something mentally is going on inside their head. And on a study, in an article that I read, majority of the people who own firearms in their household have higher risk of those people committing suicide in their house. So not just them themselves, but family members and even visiting loved ones can one day just say, I'm done, and let themselves go. In conclusion, I want to share with you guys that the Second Amendment is a very important right, one that needs to be taken seriously. So now that I went over the purpose and the restrictions of the Second Amendment, I went over the way people exercise that right. And lastly, I showed you guys the opposition. I'm not here to have you guys choose sides, but I am here to inform you guys with the Second Amendment and what it abides to. It is very important that everyone stays in the regulations of the government to make sure if they are going to exercise these rights, everyone can abide by the laws as well. So when it comes to thinking about the Second Amendment and the knowledge that you have learned so far, would you yourself see yourself exercising that right anytime soon? That is up to you. That is your choice. Because it affects our ways, our lives, whether it's personal or whether it's cultural. Thank you very much.